everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at some of my favourite books, more specifically my favourite editions of my favourite books. A lot of you guys have asked me what my favourite special editions are on my entire library shelf, and there are so many beautiful special editions behind me. I feel so lucky. But then I started pulling out the books that I thought were really beautiful, and I didn't actually have much to say about them beyond these are gorgeous. That's definitely a different video from today. Today I'm going to talk specifically about the books I love and the special editions I think are the nicest. For some of these books I have lots of multiples. For some of these books they don't have many special editions actually, so you're probably just going to get a bit of me being like, this needs more special editions. I don't know how I'm going to pick. Some of these I've already, I've got 3 copies of one book because I still don't know, actually at the point that I'm sitting down to film this, which one I'm going to pick as my favourite. So hopefully this is helpful. You're going to get a roundup of some of my favourite books. You might have heard of these before and get to see some of their gorgeous special editions that are available. Without any further ado, let's dive right in. I'm starting off with what has to be one of the series I am the most well known for loving. That is Jennifer L. Armentrout's From Blood and Ash series. This is also one of my most collected series. This is a series I've definitely had the most editions of at one point. There are definitely editions that I had that I no longer have, so I've unhauled in the past year or so the Fairy Loot editions and the Bookish Box editions. I also used to have the hardbacks at one point. I've unhauled those because my Blood and Ash collection was getting kind of crazy. I now have a few different editions that I love. These paperbacks are specifically the Polygon paperbacks. I've been collecting these over the past few years. I do like these. They're not my favourite, but I'm just showing you because this is the book series we're going to be talking about right now. I also have the Illumicrate ones. I'm not going to bring those down. I do have the Illumicrate ones. That was the first time I ever spent a lot of money for a book on the secondhand market, and it was trying to buy From Blood and Ash book 1. It was £80 at the time I bought it. I don't even want to know what people try and get rid of it for now, because if it's £20 I'm going to cry, and if it's £200 I'm going to cry. So Illumicrate haven't finished that series. I do think there's something going on where it's a hybrid or indie published book in the UK, and I think they temporarily give the rights to Hachette in order to do the UK special editions, like the Fairy Loot and the Illumicrate editions. I'm not an expert. There's something going on there, so I think what they're waiting for is the series to be complete so then they can print the rest of them. Just as a heads up, because I know the Illumicrate one isn't finished yet. We just have the first 4 books. I do really like those editions, but they are not my favourite. My favourite editions are actually the most recent addition to my From Blood and Ash collection, and that is the Arcane editions. They have just done 5 of these so far, and I have just ordered, they've done a spin-off. By the time I'm filming this, you're probably seeing it much later, but at the time of filming this, a week or 2 ago, I just pre-ordered the Flesh and Fire spin-off series with the matching designs. These are everything that I think this series needs. I even love the simplicity of just this single bloodstone dagger on the back. The sprayed edges aren't the most spectacular, but they are really nicely done. I very rarely care about a reverse dust jacket. That's maybe, I see some people really care about them. I don't care about them because I never use them. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to special editions, and I keep them the way round that they're supposed to come, even though you can invert it. But this is actually a reverse dust jacket that I would actually use, and the naked hardback is gorgeous as well. There's just not a single aspect of these books that I don't think is beautiful. I think the only thing I would change is maybe I would like some end page artwork, but having character art on the reverse kind of makes up for that. This is one of my favourite series for many reasons, but one of them is the immaculate autumnal vibes, and I feel like this special edition set in particular really does a fantastic job of summing that up. So I've been showing you book 1 From Blood and Ash. I actually think this kind of cream colourway for the second book is my favourite. So this is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. The edges on this as well. Again, whilst they are more simple, I do find usually Arcane edges are more simple. I do quite like them. The character art on these is just everything. Then we have a book 3, The Crown of Gilded Bones. I think one of the things I love about this as well is the colour scheme is kept simple. It is black, red, and then this kind of off-white creamy kind of shade. It really does a good number. They've managed to make every single book look so individual whilst keeping within those same 3 main colours. Then I also have The War of Two Queens and A Soul of Ash and Blood. I just think these are top-notch, top-level From Blood and Ash editions. There are many that have been in and out of my collection. I think these are the best. This is a series that has always meant a lot to me. In fact, the entire reason I have red hair is because of Poppy. If I was to personally design a From Blood and Ash set as a huge fan of the series, this is the set I hope I would design. That is how much I like these. And I just think they have something for everybody. If you like a naked hardback, they're great. If you like a sprayed edge, they're great. If you like me, kind of a lovely cover redesign that is matte and foily and within a very aesthetic colour scheme, they've got you covered. If you like something a bit more colourful and you wanted more variation, you could do the reverse dust jacket option. The only thing I would change about these maybe is the artwork on the inside. The end pages are fine, but maybe I would like some character art here. That is the only thing I would add in addition. This is one of these series when I first found romantasy that I fell in love with. I remember reading Akatar and then being so surprised that I found something that I thought was like as good, if not better. I will be a From Blood and Ash girly till I die. If this series is 30 books long, you best bet I'm reading all 30 of them. I just love her. This series has such a special place in my heart. I have so much to thank for the author for introducing me to this space, bringing me into this world, making me feel seen in a book. I have got on many a soapbox to tell people to read this series, and I'm going to continue to do so, but also for giving me like the vampire-y, werewolfy, like sexy story of my dreams. I've got a little bit quiet on talking about this series, I think because like at the time that I read this, it was so consuming. I could not think about anything else. I am now reading the new releases the moment they come out. In fact, before they come out, I am reviewing them actually at the moment, about a month or so before they release. But this series really did the most for me. It has such a warm place in my heart, and these are my favourite edition. Thank you, Arcane, for designing the set that in my brain I would have designed. Up next is another one of my ride or die books. This is a book that I genuinely think I found myself in. This is Ava Reid's A Study in Drowning. This is the book that I have like 3 copies in front of me that I can't decide which I prefer. A Study in Drowning is a YA dark academia. This was one of the first dark academias that I ever read, and it didn't just give me a love for this book, it gave me a love for an entire genre. Ava Reid is one of my favourite authors. Even to this day, I am reading everything they are putting out. This is my Ankarad. If you've read the book, you will know what that book means to our main character. This is my version of that book. When this was originally a standalone, and even to this day, I will still recommend this. If you were to ask me what my favourite book of all time is, this is the answer that probably comes to mind. If you were to ask me my favourite series, it would be a different answer. My favourite book, singular book, I still see this, even though Booktube was great, this is still was its single own book for a long time. This really did it for me. I've read it multiple times. It is one of my favourites. If I could only ever read one book for the rest of my life, it might be this one. There is something so beautiful and profound in this. Every single time I read it, I get something else out of it. Aesthetically, it is perfect as well. Like I really resonate with Effie, our main character. I resonate with this whole story. I just think it is delicious. Anyway, you're not here to hear about the book necessarily. You're here more to see the special editions. This one isn't really a special edition, but it kind of is. This is actually the US first printing, and they did this to match for book 2 as well. I like the sprayed edges on this, but actually more so I like the cover. However, the cover is just the standard US cover. I think this is one of the rare occasions that I loved the standard US cover more than the standard UK cover. The under dust jacket design, the naked hardback design is like fine, it's okay. And the sprayed edges, whilst nice, like aren't as good as some other things I've seen out in the world. So this is a good edition. This one is really nice, mainly because of the cover and the foiling. The other edition I ummed and ahed about is actually the Owl Crate edition. Let me show you this one. I really hope the metallic finish on this book is showing up because it really gives this cover such a dimension. My only qualm, I also love the quote on the back. My only qualm with this edition is I wish there was something going on here. This is a plain edge, you ask. In 2026, I know. I will say this probably didn't come out in 2026. I think this came out in 2024 or 2023. Oh, I don't know though, because it's got that cover from the original that I like so much on the naked hardback. It has got a reverse dust jacket. Again, I don't really care about this kind of thing. This never really gets many points, except for, you know, in the case of From Blood and Ash. This is where this book really shines for me, quite literally, is the cover. The more I look at this one, the more I'm contemplating my decisions. It's definitely between this one and the next one. The character art is to die for. Oh my god, look at them. I feel like I have to make a firm decision. If you were to ask me a year ago what my favourite A Study in Drowning edition was, it would have been the Owl Crate one. However, it has a few things working against it, one of which is its plain edge. The second of which is, where's book 2? Owl Crate. Are you doing that? Are you doing a matching edition of Ethereal Dreaming? Are you doing one? I would love to know. Anyone? Owl Crate, are you here? Can you let us know in the comments? I would love to know. May I present a newcomer in my favourite edition? Now, again, this one is not without faults. There isn't a perfect edition of A Study in Drowning in my brain. This is probably as close as I'm going to get. This is the Illumicrate edition of A Study in Drowning. I'm going to heavily caveat this with, it originally looked like this. This is just a colourway change of the original cover in the UK, and the edges, whilst nice and detailed and well done, are kind of like meh for me. What I did love about this version, however, was the beautiful like architectural sketches on the naked hardback design, and again that artwork on the end pages is beautiful. However, it's the same front and back, which I can get over. The thing that really saved this edition, however, was they recently, when they did book 2 also did some add-ons for some dust jackets that I think take this up another level. This dust jacket is much more what I would have loved the original dust jacket for this book to look like. It clashes a little bit with the edges, I won't lie. I've got these navy blue edges and then this like green front, but I can get past that. So for this one, the Illumicrate edition is winning despite its slight mismatching edges. You've got two things in your favour. One is this gorgeous alternative dust jacket that you did. Bravo, that was a good decision. The second one is that there is a matching book too. This is going to be my favourite edition of one of my favourite books, but I love all of them. I honestly, any of these could be my favourite. I think it just depends on which day of the week you catch me on. But actually, I care the most about these ones because none of these copies are perfect, in my opinion. But I care about these books so much that even though they are beautiful, and I do love them, and I have multiple copies of them, I don't think anything is quite going to be exactly what I imagined. Let's step away from fantasy a little bit and talk about some dark romance. Most of the special editions in my collection are fantasy romances, but every now and again I read such a fantastic contemporary romance or such a fantastic dark romance of some kind that I feel the need for a special edition. This book has to be my favourite dark romance book just ever. It is a standalone, and this edition does bits. I still feel very lucky that I own this edition because I actually missed the sale for this one. The book is Nocticardia by Kerry Lake. This, on the surface, might look like a bit of a boring edition, but bear with me, it's not. The dust jacket is completely redesigned. This is a dark academia, dark romance standalone, by the way. I do think we might potentially see some more special editions of this book now that it's been picked up by Penguin, but this is the Lit Haven edition, and I actually picked this up in a scratch and dent sale because they also had the Kerry Lake's Anathema special edition, and as soon as I decided to buy that, I knew I would have to do anything to get my hands on this copy. We have a beautiful smoky dark academia style cover that I think is much better than the original. Lit Haven always offers options with their sprayed edges, so the one that I got in the scratch and dent is this like gilded black. I'm hoping that's showing up shiny, and the only fault I can find on this, you might be able to see it like here, there is a small smudge in the paint. So keep in mind I bought this knowing that it was potentially damaged, but that is pretty much the only thing I can tell that's wrong with it, and it really isn't that noticeable. I forget how beautiful this is every time, and then I open it. Now I might be being quite boring, but where this edition really shines for me is this all black, I'm hoping the detail is going to show up on the camera, this all black, especially with the black edges, all black embossed design that we have on here. Oh my gosh. This is singing to my little gothic, shadowy, atmospheric soul. Like, sure, the end pages are nice too. This is just so my aesthetic, and I realise that I'm saying that my aesthetic is just matte black with some shiny black and some more shiny black and then like additional bits of black that is shiny, but like there's just something so simple about this, but I think it just really summarises everything that this book is. It's academic, it's gothic, it's moody, it's like pitch black. This is one of my favourite special editions in my collection. I really don't talk about it enough, and I think if I said why, people would be very surprised. They would expect something that's got like loads of sprayed edges, loads of artwork, loads of everything, but I just think the simplicity on this is beautiful. There is character art on the reverse dust jacket, but again, I don't really care about a reverse dust jacket. I think this is where I'm at for this one. Up next is another book that there's not a ton of editions of, or there's certainly not a ton of editions that I've seen. By the time I've posted this video, I have seen a couple of guesses that other book boxes are doing this book, and I just haven't seen them yet. So far, this is my favourite special edition. Now, this is a newer favourite for me. It's not one that I've got like loads of history with. I've read it this year, but I've really loved it. But I just think this edition is so strong that it's going in the video. It's Fairy Loot's edition of Half City by Kate Golden. This is one of the best Fairy Loot editions I've seen in for forever. Like, I love Fairy Loot editions. They always come, I always go, wow, how beautiful, a gorgeous sprayed edge, how stunning, how gorgeous, ooh, foiling. I always do that. This one, my jaw on the floor, through the floor, into the basement that I don't have. I just think this aesthetically really fits what I'm looking for in my bookcase. If I could get them to do every book they've ever done with this vibe, I would. But also I think like this just fits the genre of this book so immaculately well. The sprayed edge is my favourite sprayed edge I've seen in a long time. Fairy Loot are known for having really beautiful editions. Most people that are like collectors of special editions will have some kind of Fairy Loot set on their list that they're like, oh, if only one day I could own that. For me, it's currently Cynthia Hand's Unearthly set. I regret not getting them every day of my life. But this one, oh my god. From the sprayed edges to the dark moody dust jacket that's been completely redesigned, the red foiling, delectable. I think there's a running theme here of like the vibe I like, the things I'm looking for. I've just realised, I looked at that and I was like, oh, you could almost have that as this from Blood and Ash design. They are different. I thought they were more similar in my brain than they are, but Do you see what I mean? There's a theme. There is definitely a theme. But this is actually the only urban fantasy book on this list. There is something about this like cheeky artwork that really is selling this to me. This one is definitely one of the more modern looking, I guess, with it being set in like a modern day city style fantasy. Like that's why. But I just think she's beautiful. I just think they did every single section of this absolutely correct. The edges as well. Look at those. Okay, this is just a video of me screaming at my inanimate special editions. I am going to be keeping my eye out for other special editions of this book, because I do feel like I've seen especially a couple of US boxes potentially having this. I just haven't gone and seen their designs yet. I think a lot of things are going to struggle to top this for me personally, with my taste and my preferences. It's a good job this is the only special edition of this book that I have, because I'm not going to feel the need to have any others, I think, whilst I have this in my collection. But I'll have to wait and see. As we see some more special editions of this on the market, maybe I'll be like, oh, you know, actually that one was great, but this one's better. I can't see it happening. I really can't. I'm pretty confident saying this is going to be my favourite Half City edition. Okay, let's dive into another series that I have a lot of copies of. This is another series that really means a lot to me. One of my favourite things of all time. You know what it is. It's Blood and Steel by Helen Scheurer. If you haven't seen, I literally have a whole video where I just talk about this book and this world and these reading orders. I'm sat here filming this not knowing which of my Blood and Steel editions is my favourite, so let's figure it out together. This was my top read of last year, and literally since I read this in January, I've somehow managed to acquire all of the indie editions. I had the PR edition actually a little bit before last year. I just never got around to reading it. I'm so sad they didn't do the PR edition of the rest of the series, because I love the foiling. I've then picked up the Bookish and Spice, the Arcane and the Bookish box editions of these books. And I think if it gets traditionally published and we get some matching editions, like for example, Fairy have done the spin-off series, I could see them doing a matching Blood and Steel edition in the future, maybe into 2027, because I think this book is being republished at the end of this year. I just have a feeling this is going to be like my new From Blood and Ash, where I end up with like 8 copies and I have to be like, okay guys, which ones am I getting rid of, because there's a lot. This is really hard because again, none of these are like perfect in my brain. They're all really good. I don't know how I'm gonna be splitting hairs here. Starting off with the Bookish box ones, let's just walk through these. I really like the fact that the edges of these all match up to make a bigger picture, and I think that the Arcane ones were all gonna do that as well. I don't think I like the covers or the reverse dust jacket on these as much as some of the others. I like them. I do think they are nice. I just don't think I like them as much as what I can currently see in front of me. Similarly, I like the end page art. Obviously, I like these books enough to buy them, to spend my money on them. But I just think the art style, I have other preferences that I think are in the others. I'm going to discount this one for the time being, but we will come back to it. So we're down to Bookish and Spice and Arcane. Bookish and Spice I really like, particularly because I've got the matching edition of Slaying the Shadow Prince as well. I just think the front of these is a little... boring is the wrong word. This has very text heavy design, and I prefer the ones that have more artwork on them. It is very beautiful. I like how these look. This was actually the first Blood and Steel. Again, there's a theme going on here. This is the first Blood and Steel edition that I did actually pick up. Controversially, what I really like about these actually is the reverse dust jacket art. I wish these had foiling on them. If these had foiling on them so that I could turn it around and have foiled title everywhere, this is the way around I would actually store them. The naked hardbacks are nice. I think the sprayed edges are, again, plain and simple, but nice. The artwork in these is really beautiful though. Oh, can't show you that one though. I've done this before where I've shown off these editions and there's like some spicy artwork in there. I think that leaves my favourite editions of this series again being the Arcane editions. They're not perfect. They're still not perfect. They are probably the most similar to how I would have done these. They've gone for full character art, like full landscape art on the covers, which I do like. I maybe would have preferred closer up character art, but these are beautiful. I appreciate all the foiling. The edges, again, they do line up, or they will line up to make a bigger picture. I've pre-ordered books 3 and 4, but they're not here yet. I forgot how beautiful the naked hardbacks were. Okay, yeah, it's these editions. It has to be. Look at these naked hardbacks. They are beautiful. Character art is on point for me in these as well. I like this about as much as I like the artwork in the Bookish and Spice editions, but I think this one just has a bit more going for it with the edges and the naked hardback. Look at Thea and Wilder. And these have nice reverse dust jackets as well. I think I prefer the art style on These, I don't know, this is also really strong. I could see myself reversing these. I don't like the swaths of like white. If that was all black, I probably would have put these this way around rather than like the white on the bottom. I'm going to take a quick look at Vows and Ruins, which is book 2 as well. So book 3 and 4, as I mentioned, I have got them on pre-order, but they did book 1 and 2 in their monthly box and then pre-ordered book 4 and 5 separately. Not 4 and 5, 3 and 4 separately. These are very similar coded, except for this one has got like a brown orange shade to it rather than the red. I think because the second book in the series in the paperback has that same colorway. And then again, the reverse dust jacket is nice. Again, I wish it just didn't have like these big like sections of white on there, which cut up the design a little bit. Probably would have been more my speed without those. She likes dark and moody, okay? She likes what she likes. This series is definitely the hardest to pick between all the special editions that I have, but I think I'm gonna have to wait until I get book 3 and 4 or see what other special editions come on the market for these, but I think these are my favorite and probably will stay that way for Blood and Steel by Helen Scheurer. Up next is a book that needs more special editions, and I'm kind of including this passively aggressively because it's Shield of Sparrows. Look, I have 2 beautiful editions that are essentially the same. Let me tell you about them. This one is the Waterstones exclusive. I really appreciate the gorgeous sprayed edges on this one. It does have the standard cover. The standard cover is beautiful, I will give it that. It's got really nice end page art. It's got a bit of foiling on the hardback. I wanted more. This series deserves more. It deserves more special editions. I wanted to see character art. I want to see foiling. I would like to see more, please. If there's anyone out there making editions of Shield of Sparrows, can somebody let me know? Because I would like some more special editions of this, please. The other edition that I think has to win, just because it's slightly different. This is the Target edition, I think. It was one in the US. Oh, no, it was called the Golden edition. It's essentially the exact same thing. It has slightly less saturated edges, but the same design. But it does have this like metallic gold sheen, which I like. The end pages are the same. The hardback is the same. If anyone's wondering why one looks much bigger than the other, it's just the printing differences in the UK and the US. But like, I put the edges together. I don't know if they intentionally like dulled this one down a bit to go with the golden tone, but you can just see this one's so much more saturated to this one. Neither of these are perfect. They are nice. I'm just being demanding and selfish because I love this series and I think it deserves nicer editions. So I guess if I had to pick a favourite, I actually can't. I like the gold sheen on this one. I prefer the saturated edges on this one. These are my favourites, the Waterstones edition and whatever this weird US golden edition was. Please though, I would love, you know, like Fairy Loot. Do you want one of these? Fairy Loot? I just, maybe. Arcane. You can see I love a lot of the Arcane editions. Maybe Arcane? Want to do a little set? You know, Rights of the Starling is right around the corner. You could do both and put them in a monthly box. Up next, we have one of the best books I have ever read, but I definitely don't talk about it enough. It's Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. You already know the edition I'm going to hold up. This is the Broken Binding edition. I feel so lucky to have you. When I first got this, I was like, oh, it's really lovely. It's really nice. The more I look at this, the more incredible it is. This book is like 17 stars. I like the fact that they've kept elements of the original cover in the foiling. The artwork on this is intense. This is next level. Look at this landscape art. I love the fact that the cover is completely redesigned while still keeping a lot of the original tone and colours from the usual dust jacket. The artwork really does it for me in this one. This was a fantastic book. It is a fantasy standalone as well, so you could just read this one. You don't need to worry about a book 2 or anything. Although if M.L. Wang did want to write a book 2 in this world, I would not complain. I think the Broken Binding are like simmering away. They do such fantastic editions. They always arrive beautifully wrapped. I don't have a ton of them in my collection. I only have this one and one other, I think. The other one I have is Catabasis. That one is equally as gorgeous. I don't know, they're just really doing the most with special editions. The reason I don't have more is because they do a lot of special editions within genres that I don't really collect or read a lot in. This is incredible, having this like design here full onto the edges. I remember when I first got this, I was like, oh yeah, it's busy, there's a lot going on, but it's nice. No, it's meant to be busy. It is phenomenal. One of my favourite special editions in my entire collection and one of my favourite books I've ever read. And then to finish the video, I have 2 that are more recent favourites, and again, they have limited special edition options, but these are my favourite ones. The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman, very specifically the Fairy Loot edition. I've seen quite a few beautiful editions of this on the market actually. I have the Waterstones one, which have the standard dust jacket. If I had to get rid of any, it would be them. I would be keeping this one. I just think this is such a deviation from the original cover. I love the fact this has had a full redesign. Looks more Scottish. I'm really inspired by how Scottish this looks. Also the edges. There's like a mean wolf on the edges. Guys, I love the quote on the back. I love the artwork. I love the fact that this has a foiling on the end pages. The naked hardback design really makes me chuckle, but I think it's because I'm not a Callum fan and like the foiling makes him look like he's got frosted tips. So Hey, Callum would have frosted tips. I believe that he would. Then we have Moody Boy Blake on the back. This edition, beautiful. Again, a lot of the ones I've been picking actually have more like landscape art, some character art in there. Like, this is just all the things I love about special edition. The sprayed edge is really detailed. A beautiful edition. Can't wait for book 2 in this edition. Can't wait to see what book 3 looks like in this edition. And this is my third copy actually of the Wolf King, but definitely my favourite one. Even though I had the Waterstones and the proofs, I was like, I know for a fact I need this. And last but not least is a book that has had a special edition recently after me thinking it was never going to get one, and this is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I have banged on about this in every video I filmed, I think, since December on YouTube, and I've only been on YouTube since like December. So maybe every single video I have spoke about Quicksilver. Favourite things about this edition, I mean, I will say there's not a lot on the market, so I love this. I also have behind me a white US edition that was in my recent book haul. I really like the simplicity of that one, but it doesn't have a matching book 2. Neither does this so far, but I'm holding out hope that Lilac Libraries are going to do a matching dust jacket for Brimstone. This is actually the only book I own from Lilac Libraries, and I remember when they first started, am I right in thinking they just used to do dust jackets? I think I'd missed the memo when they started doing like full-blown special editions. The dust jacket is nice. I will say I don't always find the aesthetic of Lilac Libraries is my personal favourite, but definitely in the case of this one, I really vibe with it. The edges are super beautiful. This is definitely brighter than a lot of the other special editions on this list, so that might answer why I don't usually vibe with their aesthetic. I can admit they're beautiful every single time, but like they're often quite pastel or quite pink and quite light, and I generally like a really dark, moody looking book. I also love the fact that we have a gorgeous naked hardback design full of foiling. The character art in this book is beautiful and it is different front and back. I'm so happy that we finally have a Quicksilver special edition, guys. There was not a universe in which I was missing out on this. I really didn't like the man cover of the original cover of Quicksilver, nor did I particularly like the original like indie special edition that was more like the graphic illustrated cover. I feel like I was one of the only people that really enjoyed when they got rid of the old cover and went for these kind of more simple black ones. But I do have to say, this is absolutely spectacular and a super, super beautiful addition to my shelf. There are definitely more books I could do this for. There is a lot of other books. I've not even like touched any of the romance special editions that exist down there. As you can see, there are lots and lots of different special editions all around me. Some of them aren't duplicates, so it's very easy for me to be like, for example, oh, I don't know, that's my favourite edition of this book because I only have one, only one exists. So I try to pick series that mean a lot to me, that are very special to me, that I really enjoy and that I recommend with my full chest, particularly the series that I have like multiple copies of. So it really made me think, which one of these, if I had to get rid of every other special edition but one for those series, those are the ones I would be keeping. Now, I don't have to get rid of every other special edition for those series, so I won't be doing, but if I had to, those are the ones I would keep. If you ever want to see a video like this that's like books that don't have special editions that I think deserve them, let me know, because there are so many books around me that I would love to see special editions for, or like more special editions for, Shield of Sparrows and Quicksilver, but there's definitely some others that just have nothing. No Waterstones exclusive, no first print run, no nothing. Didn't even come out in a hardback. Like, there's definitely other things I would add to this list. Special editions are a big part of my collection. They're something I really care about, but I don't really talk about them a lot on YouTube. I do a lot of unboxings on TikTok. I share pictures of them a lot on my Instagram. You might see me holding them up on YouTube. If you want to hear me talk more about my special editions or my collection, let me know. Let me know specifically what you want me to talk about with special editions and I will get it filmed for you. But that is everything from me today. Before you go, make sure you're letting me know down in the comments what your favourite book is and if you have a special edition of it. But other than that, I will see you in the next one.